Gamers, if you think you have a good idea on how your fellow players will vote, then you want to check out EFS, the Universal Voting Game. Let's take a look at how this game plays. Gamers. In this game, players are aliens who are returning home after gathering things from Earth, including possibly a human. We're going to have to discuss everything that we found on Earth and then vote on what we think about those things and then discover who might be a human potentially. All players are going to start with 3 different of the voting cards. Most players will have an F, an S, and an E, but it is possible that players will be missing one of those and have an H instead, which will signify that they are a human. On a player's turn, they are going to declare a category of some time. So maybe I'm going to say, we played a lot of board games when we were on Earth, so let's talk about what we think about board games, and then I'll select what all of these letters stand for. For this example, I'll just go with the basic one that starts on the box, which is epic, funky, and smart. So then all players will think about what they think about board games, and players don't have to pick what they might quote-unquote actually think in real life because they are playing aliens, so they can pick any of those things, trying to maybe hedge their bets on what they think other players are going to vote for. So I think that board games are pretty epic, so I'm going to vote for that. Once players have all voted, they'll reveal their answers and then they'll consult the voting chart to see how they will score. So if there are 3 different answers given, which in this case there are, everybody in the majority would score a point. So these 3 players will score a point. When you score points, you'll take a card off the top of the deck and signify how many points you have with the dots. These stars are going to be 5 points. So I'm going to put that in front of me because I do have 1 point now. If only 2 answers had been given, so if everybody had voted like this, then the player in the minority would be getting a point there instead. If there was a tie, so if this player had actually voted like this, and then maybe this player had voted like this, so there's a tie here, then only the leader will score. So if I was the leader in this case, the leader and anybody who voted with the same as the leader would get points. So in this case, these 2 players would get points. If everybody had given the same answer, then the leader and only the leader will actually lose a point. So it is possible to lose points during the game. And then players will collect their cards to vote for the next round. At any time, a player can spend 3 of their points, if they have them, to accuse another person of being a human. So again, if you are a human, you're missing one of those 3 basic cards, which means in this case, I can never vote for whatever the F word is here. I can never vote that something is funky or fantastic or whatever words are given by the leading player. So if players start to catch on to that and are suspicious, they can spend those points and accuse me of being a human. If you are correct when accusing somebody, then you immediately win the game. Otherwise, the game will end when somebody hits 8 points. They will immediately win the game. Or at the end of 2 rounds, if nobody has hit 8 points, the humans will win. If there are no humans in the game, which you'll just reveal at the end there, then whoever has the most points will win instead. Otherwise, I thought that this game wasn't going to be much because the rules were a little vague, giving you that, oh, you can kind of do whatever you want, make the words stand for anything and pick any categories you want. And generally, I would say that I don't really like that in games. If I'm playing a game, it means that I want the rules to be given to me. I don't want to kind of do whatever I want because then why am I playing the game? But I thought for this, it actually worked really well. I thought it was just really funny to see what people came up with for both what the letters stood for and what categories they kind of were attributing those things to. And then it was funny to see how people voted because I think there was a lot of like, oh, I think I'm going to vote for smart because everybody's going to put epic. And so then like, I'm going to get more points or something like that. So I thought that was just kind of an interesting thing where you're kind of trying to think ahead of all the other players and outthink them at every given opportunity. And for such a simple light game, I thought it was just honestly a hoot. I just thought as long as you have players who can get really into it and don't just sit there and like give the same 3 words every time or like can't think of a category, like if you get people who can get a little bit creative with things, then it's really, really a fun time and can lead to a lot of laughs. So if this is a style of game that you like, I think that's definitely worth checking out. But you can see my full thoughts on the blog today to decide if this one's for you.